Hello, 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 and welcome to It's All a Work. Today you've got, as always, Dreshin to my side, Hangy Mangy down below, and it's me, of course, your boy, Big T. Today, we're going to be going over the SmackDown after Wrestlemania. So obviously, as we actually just said while we were off the air, this is all about building, right? WrestleMania is over, now we're building to the first big pay-per-view. We're building to SummerSlam. In the immediate future, we're building to Backlash. So what we're doing here, what WWE is doing here, is we are going to be basically feeding our new champions people and building new rivalries and hopefully doing new things as we step into the era of Paul Levesque. So without further ado, we're going to jump right into it. The first thing we're going to get, obviously, because we're coming off of the heels of WrestleMania, is we're going to get our trailer showing Cody completing his story, or depending on who you talk to, the story just beginning from WrestleMania 40. I know G is very excited to hear more about the story.
I'm over the story. The story can be finished, close it up, lock it away, put it on the shelf. It's an old Harry Potter book. Just put it away.
Well, some people don't agree, and Cody Rhodes is going to come to the ring with his brand new championship. The undisputed, I still can't remember what they're calling it, man. The undisputed World Heavyweight Championship, is that what it is now? Or undisputed?
Universal Championship.
Universal, there it is.
Universal.
The undisputed Universal WWE Championship. So he's going to come down to the road, and come down to the ring, and he's going to address the fans. He first starts off by talking about The Rock. That's the thing that everybody's still talking about. And Cody doesn't really give any insight to what The Rock gave him on Raw. He just says it was a wartime trinket or something, as I think what he said, something like that. Which again, I still think alludes to either being the watch or the ring. What do you got, Dresh?
Doing some more research on that. Evidently, Cody really did pawn Dusty's ring.
Yes.
When he founded AEW.
Yes.
So that leads a lot more to the ring side of things. Because if you think it's a wartime relic, well, there was technically a war between AEW and WWE. So it leads itself a lot. I didn't know he had actually pawned the ring to found AEW.
I didn't know. I didn't know when it got pawned, but I did know that was a shoot. I knew it was real that it got pawned. I just didn't know when.
Mm-hmm. It was pawned. Yeah, he pawned it so for the money he needed to start AEW. So
damn, I would not have thought of that. That's wild as hell.
It's crazy.
So it very much could have been the ring. Very much could have been.
Absolutely crazy. I am also Team Ring. If we're doing teams here, I'm Team Ring. I think it was the ring, 100%. And that's just that's some stuff that The Rock does. Like in real life, like obviously The Rock is playing a heel, but in real life, The Rock is a very nice person. You've seen him buy people cars. You've seen him buy, his mom a house, like all that stuff. The Rock does that kind of stuff. He loves making people happy out of nowhere. So this is also something that I can see him doing in the ring to try to break Cody, out of character for a second. So
damn close. It came damn close.
Very close, because his face was all screwed up. Just
yep,
looking ugly.
Yeah. Now I've been there. When you're doing this. When you're doing that, trying to hold back emotion, like, yeah, that's real. That's real. When you got your teeth showing, man, yeah, it's real shit. So, but, so Cody's going to address the other elephant in the room, and that is who's going to go after his titles next, or his title, I should say, next. He puts over Backlash being in France. He says it's the first of the series of WWE PLEs that will be overseas. Because as I'm sure some of the fans watching tonight know, the next, I think it's 4, maybe even 5 PLEs are going to be not in the United States. They'll be somewhere else.
Yeah.
So obviously, to get to that, we have to have some number 1 contenders matches and a little bit of a tournament. SmackDown's all about their tournaments. So he puts over the 2 triple threat matches that are going to happen tonight. Now, your 2 triple threat matches are going to be Santos Escobar, Bobby Lashley, and LA Knight. They'll all be going against each other, and that happens actually after this promo. And then at the end of the night, the main event, if you will be Rey Mysterio, AJ Styles, and KO going against each other. So Cody is going to take some time here, and he's going to go through each potential opponent that he could have. And I think the way that he goes through it is kind of telling of the way that the night is going to go. And in my opinion, who I think the ultimate winner is going to be. So when he goes through his opponents, this is what he says, and he says this in order. He says Santos Escobar, and he waits for a reaction, right? Santos gets his boos. Rey Mysterio, he gets a huge pop, of course. He calls LA Knight the fastest rising superstar in WWE today, which is obviously true. And then he says, if we're talking about LA Knight, you know we have to talk about AJ Styles. And then he goes on to say that him and AJ are 2 of the only 4 wrestlers to have won both the NWA and the WWE championship. I'm curious as to who the other 2 are, because I think he said on the current roster. Because immediately my brain was like, oh, Ric Flair. But the thing is Ric Flair isn't on the current roster, so I'm not sure who those people are. I should have looked that up for the podcast. But then he mentions Bobby Lashley, and Bobby Lashley gets a little bit of a pop, and I think that actually surprised Cody Rhodes, so he repeats Bobby Lashley's name. And then he says KO. Of course, KO is going to get a pop. He says that KO believes that he's better than Cody bell to bell, but Cody believes that, well, he's better bell to bell. And sometimes when you have ideas like that, you just have to get in the ring and get it done and see who's actually better. He says to the 6 men who are in the triple threat matches tonight, if you're going to come at the king, you best not miss. And from there, he says, to those who don't know who I am, allow me to introduce myself if you happen to be unfamiliar. I am the man who was undesirable and went to undeniable, and now I am undisputed. I am Cody Rhodes. He's going to hold up his title. We're going to fade to a commercial right after we get some evening updates from Corey Graves and Mr. Bad News Barrett. So,
you'll never guess NWA champions. Just want to come back to that. Ron the Truth Killings.
What?
AJ Styles.
Right.
Adam Pearce. And Nick Aldis.
You know what's funny about that? Is that I was going to say Nick Aldis was one, but I didn't know Adam Pearce was one, and I had no idea.
It's wild. I say
no idea about R-Truth. R-Truth was WWE champion?
Yep. Oh, shit. No. My bad. Not WWE champion. My bad.
Okay. I was just saying, because I know that Nick Aldis was NWA, but I don't think that he was. I don't think him or Adam Pearce were WWE champion.
Well, if they're talking current roster, it's only him and AJ. But as far as just NWA champions, those are the ones that are in the current roster right now.
Okay.
Yep.
Interesting. Okay. So it has to be Ric Flair and then Hulk Hogan? Was Hulk Hogan NWA champion at one point? Buddy Rogers. Ah, thank you, Squirrels. Okay. Mr. Buddy Rogers. That one I would not have ever guessed. To say, like I said, I knew one was Ric Flair if it wasn't current roster. So.
Right.
But anyway, we're going to get to what I think right now is somehow still 4 years later, the best story in WWE. We're going to get a glimpse of, we see the Bloodline walking around backstage, and Solo, Jimmy, and Mr. Heyman, they run into the champ's locker room door. American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, plastered on the door. They're looking, and KO says, excuse me. And he opens the door, and he looks at him, he says, "You're not invited, there's a broom closet over there." And,
good old KO.
Good old KO, man. And so Solo obviously pissed off. And says, "I'm going to handle him. I'm going to handle Cody. I'm going to handle this entire situation." And Paul says, "Solo, you got to stop. There are consequences to winning. There are consequences to losing. And right now, Cody Rhodes is the WWE Undisputed Universal Heavyweight Champion. And that is the champion's locker room. And we have to respect that. And the only way that we get our locker room back is that that title comes back to the Bloodline by orders of the tribal chief." Obviously, in this, Solo looks visibly pissed off. Paul Heyman's kind of recoiling back. Good foreshadowing, I think. Obviously, they're going to be heading to the ring here soon. But not before we go to a commercial and come back. And we see that Sammy is going up against Chad next week on Raw. Actually, we'll be, yes?
You're way ahead of yourself. Don't forget the promo that ran during that commercial break saying Sheamus was coming back.
Well, yeah, I was about to mention it. I was literally one sentence away from it.
That bit about Sammy's not until later, isn't it?
It was hand in hand.
Okay.
Yeah, so so Sammy's it's talking about the match between Sammy and Chad tomorrow, and it was just like a promo for it, and then it says also the Celtic Warrior Sheamus will make his return on Raw. So Sheamus will be, I don't know if he'll be in action tomorrow, but he will certainly be on Raw, which is going to be fantastic. Definitely have missed Sheamus. I think he's been out with an injury, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe it was his knee.
Was it his knee?
I think so. Let me check.
It's either that or he just took time off, because I think what was his last match?
Oh, I think it was something with the Brawling Brutes when he was still with Pete Dunne and all that. So,
wow.
By the way, now we're gonna get into our first triple threat match of the night. Speaking of night, it's LA Night. Bobby Lashley and Santos Escobar going against each other. You know what's really interesting about these two matches? Y'all good? Okay.
Shoulder. That's where Sheamus was.
Gotcha. I was saying, y'all were looking at me for a second like maybe I was like breaking up or something. So.
No.
Okay. But yeah, the interesting thing about this match versus the other match, versus the main event, is the style in which it was kind of fought, right? So LA Knight and Bobby Lashley, they're more ground wrestlers, right? They don't do a lot of jumping around. Santos Escobar, however, has the ability to be more high-flying. You get into the main event, you have two high-flying wrestlers and one grounded wrestler. So I thought that was really interesting to see. Obviously, when they get in the ring here, this fight's immediately just going to break down into absolute chaos. They spill the outside as we go to commercial break, and they're fighting out there. In the match, we're going to get a decent back and forth. LA Knight ultimately is going to get a good upper hand. And when that happens, Legado del Fantasma is going to come down to the ring. And their goal, obviously, is to take out LA Knight and Bobby Lashley. So they're pulling their signature moves on them and all this kind of stuff. And right when it looks like the final nail's being put in the coffin, you're going to have Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins come down to even the odds. So they come out. They're going to chase off Angel Umberto. And we're going to have Electro Lopez get involved when Bobby starts to take advantage. But B-Fab going to get in the ring and just give her the old boot of doom.
Boot of doom.
The boot of doom. So at this point, it does look like Bobby Lashley is going to end up winning, but out of nowhere, what's going to end up happening is LA Knight's going to sneak in and he's going to hit the BFT for the win. He's going to take out Santos, if I remember that correctly. So I think LA Knight was the right choice here for this. What's interesting to me is that, and we'll talk about it later, what's interesting to me is that they took arguably the second worst match on the WrestleMania card and they're making it for SmackDown next week.
Yeah, basically.
You know?
Yeah.
Which
I think this was going to have a different outcome, though. But, yeah.
I tend to agree. But right now, as it stands in the segment and as it stands at SmackDown at this point, it is LA Knight versus either Rey Mysterio, Kevin Owens, or AJ Styles.
Yo, did I not call that the Pride is going to be involved with Legado del Fantasma after WrestleMania? Did I not call that shit? What the hell?
Wait a minute. I must have missed something. Explain that.
So, you got Bobby Lashley and the Pride. They get, Bobby Lashley in the match with Santos Escobar. You get Legado del Fantasma coming in to interrupt. You get the Pride coming in.
Yeah.
So, you know that's where it's going to lead to, because either or cost either or the match. So,
you know what? Yeah, you did call that, and that was out of the blue. So I don't know how you called that. I don't know how you saw that coming, but you were right. So
I don't remember there being anything saying that it was going to be a disqualification match. Just saying.
They announced it in the middle of the match.
Apparently they had to, because Dresh and I both were like, "Wait a minute, what's happening here? Hold on."
Yeah, mid-match, I think it was, who was it? Was it Graves or, not Graves, Barrett? They were like, this is no disqualification, so there's nothing really that anybody can do about it. I'm like, oh, word.
Okay, so that's what's going on. Sweet, whatever.
Yeah.
So this is going to take us right into our LWO segment, the Latino World Order segment. Rey says basically that the reason that Santos lost is karma. He says Santos is a bad person. It's karma. And he says that Rey says that he thinks that he has one more title reign in him, and he says that he's going to be the one to come out victorious tonight. And obviously LWO is going to be hyping him up. And this is going to take us into my opinion, the segment of the night, one of the bigger moments of the night, even bigger for me than Tiffy time, but the Bloodline segment. All right, so this is where we get into it. Paul Heyman comes out, and something really interesting is that they come out to Solo Sikoa's music. I don't know if y'all caught that. They came out to Solo Sikoa's music. It was not Bloodline music. So right there, instantly, that's weird. But so Paul Heyman gets the mic and he says, it's very weird. They are turning Roman Reigns' face without Roman Reigns being there. Because the way that Paul Heyman was cutting his promo, he was like, we offer no excuses for what happened at WrestleMania. Cody won. because he was ready, and he came in there ready, and any opportunity that he could take, he was going to take it, and that's what a champion does. And Roman Reigns allowed himself to become distracted by Seth Rollins, because Seth Rollins wearing the Shield gear was just too much and incited such an emotional reaction in the Tribal Chief that the Tribal Chief took the shot. So it's very, like, it just makes me feel like they're turning him face. So it won't be like a heel faction versus heel faction. I mean, someone's got to be face in this, and it definitely ain't going to be someone with Tama Tonga in there. That's all I'm saying.
That's fair. I just don't see it be a full face. I think he'll be more of a anti-face. Not a complete heel, but he's kind of doing his own thing.
Sure.
Because he just wants to go. But that's to be seen.
Yeah. I mean, definitely. As long as he doesn't start saying "suffer and succotash" again, I'm good.
I think that promo. I think that shit is long gone. Thank God.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure Vince wrote that shit.
Vince did write that shit. He had to. Yep. Like, I'm pretty sure that night they were gonna debut the Tribal Chief stuff, and Vince said, "Tribal Chief, what is this shit?" He's like, "Say suffer and succotash, pal." And there you go. He's like, "And later we're gonna pour dog food on you."
Yep. And after the dog food, he ain't been right since.
Baron Corbin ain't been right since the dog food. He's the one that did it.
That is facts. That is facts.
So yeah, Paul goes on to say, "Like a phoenix from the ashes, our Tribal Chief is gonna rise up." And as soon as he gets to that, Solo is going to grab the microphone from Paul Heyman. And, Sam. Sorry, everybody. Sam also is not a fan of Solo Sikoa. It makes him very upset. But Solo's going to interrupt Paul, and he says, "Winning matters, right? And losing matters, right?" Paul obviously confirms this, nods his head yes, and he moves Paul to the side, and he looks at Jimmy. And at this point, Jimmy doesn't know what's going on. He doesn't know if he's in trouble. He doesn't know if this is a joke, if he should be laughing. So he's looking around, and he's like...
Solo says there has to be change.
Yes.
There has to be change.
His exact words are, losing and winning matters, right? So there's consequences to losing, right?
Yep.
And then he turns to Jimmy and says, right? And then he goes, so that means consequences lead change.
Yep.
And now you know what happens.
And now he goes over, he embraces Jimmy, he says, "You're my brother, and I love you." And Jimmy says, "I love you too." He says, "All right." And he keeps him at arm's length. And out of nowhere, Tama Tonga comes out and beats the absolute hell out of Jimmy. Now, Tama Tonga, for those who don't know, he's been wrestling in New Japan for a while, and he is the son of the legendary, almost infamous Haku.
Boy. Man, I cannot wait. I'm excited. Because I was expecting Jacob Fatu. That's who I was expecting.
We all were.
They're still saying he's going to NXT.
Oh yeah, he is. That's the rumor. But just this surprise, I was like, holy shit! Because Tama is a monster. He is a fucking monster, and I am so excited.
You could tell he was crazy just by looking at his face. You could tell the dude's crazy, like out of the ring. Dude's nuts. You can tell.
I'm excited as hell.
I would say he's definitely got his father in him. You can tell, and obviously anybody who doesn't know the stories about Haku in wrestling, look him up. Haku is
legitimately crazy.
outside of Harley Race. Maybe Harley Race, the toughest son of a bitch. Like, Harley Race and Haku have insane stories told about them. So for Haku's son to be in the mix now, in the bloodline and all that stuff, absolutely nuts. So one thing that should be mentioned here is that Solo Sikoa hits like, I don't know if y'all counted, 6, 7 Samoan spikes.
6. Yeah.
6 Samoan spikes on Jimmy. You know, Paul, you know, so let's back up. So after the beatdown happens and Jimmy's just a mess in the ground, Solo puts up the 1. Tama puts up the 1.
Yeah, there you go.
Paul also puts up the 1, and then he says, "Call Roman Reigns." Solo grabs the phone, smashes it on the mat, stomps on it, and then after he does that, all he does is point to the ring announcers, table or area, ring announcers area. And Tama is going to go out and he's going to grab a chair. He's going to wrap it around Jimmy's neck, sit Jimmy down in the corner, and Solo Sikoa is going to run, hit one side of the turnbuckle, and he's going to run and obviously do the Samoan back that ass up, whatever move. I can't remember what it's called. But he's gonna nail Jimmy in the corner there, and just obviously chair wrapped around his neck. He's done. He's out. Done.
Goodbye, Jimmy.
And then they leave the ring. Now I've seen a lot of speculation online, and I'm gonna ask y'all to talk about it a little bit too. What y'all have seen, heard, or even think. A lot of people are saying that The Rock is the one that's behind the scenes causing all of this, and that The Rock is the tribal chief. I don't know. I still think it might be Solo. What are you guys thinking? What are you guys feeling about this right now? I know it's too early to actually tell, but what's your gut telling you?
So, if The Rock hadn't signed off and said goodbye and said he was going to have to go away for a while, I would think maybe The Rock was pulling the strings behind the scenes. But even Roman himself had said they were grooming Solo to be the next tribal chief. So I think Solo has gone a little bit insane, gotten a little bit power hungry, and has decided that he's going to do this his way.
I think
I think it's Solo pulling the strings.
I think it's sort of like that. I think The Rock is pulling the strings, but he's putting Solo in that position of tribal chief. Because Rock is final boss. Rock is the final boss regardless. So, really, cheese puffs. All right.
Squirrels knows about these.
I think that The Rock is calling the shots because as far as the change, you would never hear Solo say, "Oh, there needs to be change." That sounds like some Rocky shit. There needs to be a change within the ranks. So I think either he got into Solo's head and is like telling him, "I need you to be my new tribal chief," since Roman failed. And now Solo's kind of taking over the reins. But I still think The Rock is,
you predominantly see the theory online right now is that The Rock is pulling the strings.
Yeah.
That's the predominant theory, but I don't know. I feel like this is Solo going rogue.
Could be. And honestly, could be.
And the thing is you got to look at the story build as well, in my opinion. Like, Solo has had an issue with the way Roman Reigns has been governing for a while. Mm-hmm. All the way back to Sami Zayn, actually. He's had an issue with the way that Roman Reigns was handling his business. And, I mean, I don't know. I think that Solo might think this is his time to shine. I think it's possible The Rock does end up getting involved at some point, but I don't know. For now, I'm gonna say that I think it's Solo who's trying to pull the strings. But again, this is week 1 after WrestleMania, man. We got a whole 3 to 4 months before SummerSlam, so we'll see where
it's gonna be drawn up. This is gonna be drawn out another 2 years.
That Jimmy is going to go back to Raw, and they're going to put the band back together of the Usos. So,
You know what's crazy,
Most
man?
likely.
This story has gone on for so long, and they're just pulling Samoans out of the ground. Like, I don't understand.
I swear they got a fucking line of Samoans that just like, you Samoan? Come to
Tonga's not
WWE.
Samoan.
Do what?
Tonga's not Samoan. They're from a different island. That family, they're still Pacific Islanders, but they're not from the same island. They're not Samoans. That's a huge, bro, it's a thing. That family is not Samoan.
So, Haku, I read the breakdown of it, and you're right. It's just because they call each other uncle and cousin and all that kind of stuff. That's where all that comes from. Big reveal, Paul is pulling all the strings. You know what? I wouldn't even be surprised. We find out 2030, Paul wheels himself out to the ring and he says, "It was me all along." And then, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I would not be surprised at all. So yeah, again, just this Bloodline thing is so good that it actually makes me look forward to the next thing after the Bloodline's gone, which is crazy. Like, how are they going to top the whole Bloodline story? It's crazy. So anyway,
I mean, considering they're adding new people to it, I don't think they want it to go away anytime soon.
no, they don't. They definitely don't. So we're gonna go to a commercial because we need some time to calm down from that, and then we're gonna come back to Cameron Grimes in the ring. And we get Mr. Bron Breakker. See, I knew that he was going to come back out after WrestleMania. I knew that he was going to have more of a proper match. Now, this was still a squash.
Yeah.
But it was more of a proper match. Cameron isn't a no-name person, so Cameron Grimes got in, I think, one, maybe two pieces of offense. It didn't matter, but he still was able to do a couple things. But basically what ends up happening, Cameron gets in some stuff, but then Bron Breakker is going to do his 25-mile-an-hour run back and forth. He's going to do the Steiner liner, spear, 1, 2, 3, done. Obviously, Bron Breakker going to win via the spear. What they're doing here is right now, Baron Corbin and Bron Breakker are the NXT Tag Team Champions. So they're doing a couple things. They're keeping Bron relevant on Fridays by having him do these squash matches and beat what is going to start out as no-name people, and then we're slowly going to go up to people who, oh, this isn't a no-name guy, but he's like a level D wrestler, level C wrestler, whatever. And then we're just going to keep doing that build. Meanwhile, at some point, Baron Corbin is going to get pinned for those tag championships, and that's going to bring Bron Breakker to SmackDown fully. Now, this is probably going to happen again around like maybe a month before SummerSlam. Baron Corbin and Bron Breakker are probably going to drop those titles at one of NXT's PLEs, and then you'll get a proper build for a proper match at SummerSlam with Bron Breakker, probably dethroning LA Knight.
Did you see
not LA Knight, I'm sorry, Logan Paul. Go ahead.
Did you see the video of Bron Breakker doing his back and forth and his mass and movement enough that he moved the fucking ring bouncing off the ropes? Jesus.
Yeah, I talked about that last time. Yeah, it's fucking insane.
I was just saying,
You did, didn't you? Yeah. I saw that shit I saw that this week. I was like, oh god.
Yeah, that's from them not anchoring the ring down correctly, but absolutely.
Like, regardless if they anchor it or not, that's still a lot of mass to.
Yeah, the ring isn't light either way. So I mean, you're right about that. And Paul did turn on Roman Reigns once, yes, but that was a work for Paul to ultimately turn on Lesnar so Roman could continue to win. What Paul did was he made Brock Lesnar think that he was on his side by like, you know, that promo where like Roman Reigns was questioning whether or not Paul was with Brock or not, and then Brock came out and said, you know, oh, I signed the contract this morning and I had my advocate look over it, my advocate Paul Heyman, and that whole thing happened. But he has not properly turned on Roman Reigns yet that I'm aware of. But that was all in kayfabe work or whatever. So Roman Reigns could beat Brock Lesnar ultimately. Like, as a matter of fact, I think that's how they unified the titles. Because he beat Brock Lesnar for the other title, and Paul Heyman was pretending that he was on Brock Lesnar's side, and then he ended up handing the chair to Roman at the end of SummerSlam, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's how that happened. Could be wrong. Probably right.
I think it happened some kind of differently, because I still remember Roman cutting a promo with, you know, this is my ring, these are my cameras, you know, this is my. That promo was still legendary as shit. Brock was just sitting there. He's like, I'm so proud of him.
You know what's been showing up on my feed a lot is when Brock Lesnar was on that bulldozer or whatever the hell, and he throws the mic and Roman just catches it, like winks at him. They catches it flawlessly. It's hilarious.
Crazy.
Anyway, so we're gonna go to commercial after that beatdown from Braun Breaker. We're gonna come back to see like an AJ Styles vignette, basically promising that he's going to win the.
In the AJ Styles promo is after we go back to the locker room to check on Jimmy.
Yeah, true.
What I have in order was the AJ Styles segment, then the Bayley segment, and then the Paul segment.
I was pretty sure that was before the Bayley segment.
I don't know. I mean, I just went through and rewatched it, but.
All right. Hey, you got it freshest in your mind. We'll go with yours.
But I mean, either way, we'll get to it. So there we have this vignette. AJ promising he's going to win the triple threat and he's going to incite chaos next week against LA Knight. He says that he says that the damage he causes tonight will just be a taste of what he gets next week, and that it's going to be phenomenal. And he says that this isn't personal, it's necessary. We're going to get our Bayley segment where Bayley's going to come out and thank the crowd, and she's going to talk about how lucky she feels to be a part of the new locker room and a part of the new era, and, you know, have all of these matchups that she's going to have as the champion. So, you know, talks about, you know, wanting to defend the championship tonight and everything, and Tiffany Straton's music is going to hit. And she's going to come out, and she's going to say, Bayley, obviously you're building to some kind of open challenge, and I'm just going to tell you I accept because it's Tiffy time. Now, I'm just going to say this. She said that, and the crowd is, like, white hot for her right now. The crowd loved it. Loved it.
No, you were a white hot.
You loved that shit. That crowd was silent.
The crowd popped. The crowd popped for Tiffany Stratton.
That crowd, you hearing shit? They pumping sound into the area. That's all that was.
They wanted to see Bayley and Tiffany so bad. Like, that match is coming at some point. I promise you.
Don't nobody want to see that shit.
Look, either way, Bayley says that she wasn't doing the open challenge. She was actually just coming out to challenge someone who, you know, came back out in the debuted in the Royal Rumble and this, that, and the other, and or made her return at the Royal Rumble and this, that, and the other. And she says it's Naomi, and Tiffy says Naomi couldn't win a title if it glowed in the dark. And then when that happened, Naomi's music hits. She comes out pissed off. Naomi hits the ring and says that Tiffy has tried her on the wrong night, and that she has earned everything she's ever gotten in the WWE, and she doesn't plan on stopping now. And she says that she can't accept Bayley's challenge right now because she wants to earn it by beating Clueless Time, is what she called Tiffany, which was a lame insult. Now,
Thanks.
Now, We're gonna go to commercial. What?
Correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't Naomi a women's SmackDown champion at the time?
And she was also the champion over at TNA. What do you mean?
Yes, she was. So how could she not know where her title is when she's won 2 and Tiffany has not won anything yet?
Oh my God, she was the NXT Women's Champion. Just so we're all on the same page.
For 5 seconds.
Okay. Look. Anyway, we're gonna go to a commercial break, and when we come back, Paul is gonna be asked about Jimmy's condition, and Paul says Jimmy is not okay.
No shit.
Tama Tonga comes up and just stares Paul down, and Paul is doing his terrified bit. And Tama looks at him and says, "What?"
That man looked like he shit his pants.
He probably did.
It did.
And he says, Tama says, by order of the tribal chief. And as he says this, Solo walks into frame. Now, this could give credence to what me and Dresh thinks. However, this could also be a swerve and give more evidence to what G thinks. So, who knows? Who knows? Only time will tell.
Solo is the tribal chief, but Rock is the final boss, and I'm just saying he just puppet master. That's all.
Could be. Either way, after all that happens and they walk away, Paul is left there and he's looking and he goes, "What the hell does that mean?" And we just fade into the match. That's already happening. It started during that segment. It's Tiffany Straton versus Naomi. Now, it was a good match. As a matter of fact, their styles complement each other. I'll definitely say that. Tiffany doing her gymnastics style, using a little bit of heel tactics here and there because she obviously is the heel. Naomi also doing her gymnastic style wrestling, obviously doing the split-legged, the split leg drop from the ropes to try to pin her. We're doing the rear view where she like gives her pink eye, like all of this stuff. all of this stuff is happening. But despite Tiffany trying very hard, Naomi is going to end up winning with basically a roll up. With what is basically a roll up.
Weak ass win.
In my opinion, first of all, I believe that like outside of kayfabe, they had Naomi win this way to keep Tiffany looking strong. Because everybody knows what's up outside from the people who are trolling me. Everyone knows that Tiffany is going to be fantastic.
She's going to be great. Stop sucking the dick.
See, what you can't see is about 2 feet that way on his wall is a life-size Tiffany Stratton.
Oh my God!
That is
Look,
not true.
it just said, look on that shit. He's got a banner that just says "Tiffany time."
That's not true. But I might change our official banner to Tiffy time.
I will not be back on this podcast.
I know, right? It'll be just you.
By yourself. Ugh, that's an OnlyFans.
Jesus. All right. Anyway, obviously after this we're gonna go to commercial. Come back. Now we got a Logan Paul segment, and he's just being a dick. He's being a heel. He's being an asshole. What he does. He says that an outsider just walked up and beat 2 legends at WrestleMania, and he says, "Well, I beat 1 legend. Kevin Owens is kind of a dunce."
Damn.
And then he calls himself the legend killer. He says, "Randy, if I beat you, then who's really the legend killer now?" And he says that he's bringing more faces to the WWE, and he's the real deal. He says he's brought more faces to the WWE over WrestleMania than they have actually been able to bring in. He said that he's the one who's brought in 2 million different faces coming to watch the WWE because of his partnership with WWE, with Prime and all that kind of stuff. So he's giving himself a lot of credit here.
I just want to say that his heel work is fantastic because that pissed me off a little bit. Just from you saying it.
The slowest roll.
Yeah, that pissed me off a little bit.
Because he literally puts him down.
Facts. But I give credit where credit is due. That's what Logan Paul's trying to do. He's trying to be an asshole. He's trying to be that heel. And just by saying that, I was like, God damn, I really don't want to fuck with him. But that's quality heel work. And I give him credit for that.
Right.
Damn.
To go with all that, I Show Speed got RKO'd to the table. That motherfucker, he made I think it was a TikTok of him playing 2K24 with his character, and he RKO's Randy Orton for a pin in 2K24. And he's sitting there, yeah, who got the RKO now?
Jesus.
Yes, was in the hospital. He needed to relax.
Yeah, because he had the other one that he put out where he's like, yo, WWE is real.
Yeah. It's like, this shit ain't fake.
So, he really does make it easy to hate him 100%.
Yeah.
Damn.
It's his face.
So now we're going to get into Dresh's favorite match of the night.
That's facts.
We have Jade Cargil. Jade Cargil.
It wasn't a good match at all.
Bianca BelAir versus Chelsea Green.
Sane is a fucking tag team.
Actually, I'm sorry, I said that wrong. Chelsea Green and Piper Niven.
Okay. Yeah, Piper Niven.
So this was also kind of a squash in a way.
If you look at the match, like the segment, the walkouts took longer than the match.
Yep. And you know what's good about that, though? Do you know what's good about that? Is that Piper Niven actually got in some offense against Bianca BelAir.
Yes.
But Jade is untouchable. She's not going to be touched. And so what happened is Jade's weak. Or not Jade, I'm sorry. Piper is weak. She gets to the... after she does all this offense to Bianca, and then Bianca does a reversal on her to weaken her, Piper's going to get herself to the corner, tag in Chelsea Green. Chelsea Green almost stops Bianca BelAir, but gets the tag into Jade Cargil anyway. Chelsea's going to turn around out of fear of what happened to her last time. She's going to try to tag in Piper, and Piper is going to be gone. There is no Piper. Piper's on the floor. She hurt. She had the boot of doom. Now. Now.
Works 60% of the time, 100%
100% of the time. Jade Cargil, points for her, I guess, being original. She just slammed the shit out of Chelsea. I don't know if that was a mess up or what, but she just threw her on the ground. She was like, bitch, you again? So, gets her up in the Jaded, which, by the way, I'm not going to say any cross word about Jade Cargil, except for this. The name of her finish sucks.
Yes, I hate it. The Jaded.
Like, it just sounds weird. She hit the Jaded. It's like, I don't
like it.
Yeah. But it is a devastating move used by also one of the most devastating wrestlers to ever do it, Beth Phoenix. So it's a good move, and she owns it. The way she pins, like she follows up with the pin, all that, she owns it. So obviously Jade Cargil is going to get the pin here. Bianca will celebrate with her. They go over Chelsea Green and Piper Niven. It was very good to see Piper Niven back in action. So I hope they feed her to Bayley. I'd like to see Bayley go against a monster.
Yeah. The monster that's not Nia. So.
Correct.
Yeah, Nia's been used as a monster quite a bit lately.
Yeah. It's time for a change. But I will say, Jade needs to wash her hands after every match because she needs to stop looking at goddamn hand. Like, stop doing that. You're nasty. Get some help.
I will give props to Piper Niven because Piper got tagged in, and Bianca was in, and Piper's like, no, She didn't want Bianca. She wanted
Jade.
Jade. So, for such a low-level wrestler, as it were, because you don't see her up there too much anymore, that takes balls.
I think that'll be a good match. That'll be a good singles match. You know, something to, and I say this slightly, to bust Jade wide open as far as, you know, style. Shut up. I said lightly.
So, Squirrels has a question. How long till Jade's first loss?
Not this PLE. Maybe SummerSlam.
What about Clash?
I don't know if they'll have Jade on Clash. I don't think they'll have her on there. Unless they go for the Kabuki Warriors belts.
Well, that's the one thing I'm afraid of. If she goes for if they go for the tag titles, Jade will not get pinned for a very, very long time. If we're going to singles competitor matches, if we're looking at singles competitor matches, I can see her losing to Bayley. Now, does it happen at Clash of Champions? I don't know.
Nah, that's too soon for it to happen.
I think it's gonna be Bianca's turn or not Clash at SummerSlam. I think it's gonna be Bianca's turn at SummerSlam, and I think Bayley goes over Bianca. Maybe at Survivor Series she goes against Jade. I can see that. Then she beats Jade. I think that Jade's first loss is gonna come on a championship match.
Yeah.
I don't think she's going to win her first. I don't think she's going to win the first time she goes for the championship. Because they're not going to build her to be Asuka.
I don't think they're going to give her the why can I not think of his name? No neck spear.
Goldberg treatment.
There you go. The Goldberg treatment.
Yeah, that's what I was saying with Asuka.
Yeah, no.
Oh, okay. They did the same thing with Asuka. Yeah, it's true. They did do the same thing with Asuka. Yeah.
You know, the whole, when I got there, the Japanese woman, Asuka. Yeah. Fucking dumbass.
I'm mad I can go no neck spear and get up talking.
The
man has no neck. Anyway, I'm sorry.
I from the second I saw Jade Cargil, I saw her going against Charlotte Flair. And Charlotte Flair is going to come back at some point soon. As a matter of fact,
she should be back right around SummerSlam.
Well, I was going to say, as a matter of fact, I can see her. I can see Bianca going against Bayley and Jade going against Charlotte and winning. So it further solidifies her.
Now.
Would have 9 months, so right around SummerSlam will be 9 months.
Now. You know Charlotte Flair, once she comes back from an injury, she's going for the championship match immediately. Come on now. You know how it works.
And that it does work that way, but I think that when that happens, what's going to happen is that Jade Cargill is going to come out and say, hey, there's a line, and right now the line's behind me. I think that's what she'll say.
All right, we shall see. I'm just saying, Charlotte gets that treatment where it's like, she's been gone for 9 months. Oh, she's back. Oh, she wants the belt. All right, cool. Let's hand it to her. What the fuck?
I don't think that's going to happen in this era.
I hope not.
Well, that also could be because Vince was really hard for Charlotte. Like, obviously.
Yes.
Hard for a lot of bad things.
That's true. So, moving on, though. Wait, so who do you think that she'll lose to, though? Because I think she's losing to Bayley, but if she's going to get a loss, who do you all think it's going to be to?
I think it's going to be a loss in a #1 contender match against Bianca.
Damn it, Dresh. Get out my damn head. That's exactly what I was going to say. I was like, she's probably going to lose to Bianca.
God.
Because Because that's gonna be a good ass match. If they're building her the way she is and how they run, it's gonna be a good ass match. But she takes L against Bianca. It makes sense.
That match is a match that, like, we were playing Call of Duty, I'd put the controller down for that one.
Yep.
Like, that's a put the controller down match.
No, that's we're dropping out the lobby real quick.
Yeah, let's just turn the Xbox off. Let's go. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So,
I agree.
But all right, so we're gonna move now to our last event of the evening, sponsored by Capital One. I don't know if you guys have seen that shit, but they're doing that now.
Yep.
But Byron Saxton tries to get some final thoughts from KO before KO heads out to the ring, and KO says, "Wait a minute, is this that camera thing? That camera thing that y'all have been doing where, like, it follows you out to the... Hey, that's cool. Can I have this mic?" And Byron says, "Yeah." So KO's gonna start talking his stuff. He's walking along, and then he says, "Hey, what's this title? Is that a tiger on that?" And he picks it up and he says, "I like tigers. I'm keeping this." And then he takes the title. That's out down to the damn ring, because now it's his title now.
He just committed robbery on camera. And nobody's doing a damn thing about it.
It's KO.
And then we're basically gonna get our we're gonna get KO to the ring, we're gonna get Rey to the ring, we're gonna get AJ to the ring. And like I was saying at the beginning, at the top of the hour, the story here is the opposite of the story in the first match, where Rey and AJ are gonna be doing high flying moves, and KO is gonna struggle to keep the match grounded because that's where he excels. A couple highlights of this match, Rey did a couple reversals in a row to KO and AJ, respectively, hitting tornado DDTs. We got a triple German suplex that was done. KO was the one that started it, and AJ was, I believe, holding on to Rey from the corner. They hit the triple German. KO hits a stunner on Rey on the apron. But he misses the swanton to AJ Styles after that. He tries to follow that up for a win, but he doesn't. And obviously the match is going to end with AJ Styles doing a Styles clash from the top rope to Rey Mysterio onto Kevin Owens.
Crazy.
Insane, absolutely insane. Like, and shout out to Rey for one, being willing to do it, but also being small enough to handle that, because Jesus Christ. Shout out to KO for being a big enough pillow to block Rey's fall.
Shout out to AJ Styles and the steroids, because that's some steroid injected shit he just did.
Yeah, people talk about Perk Angle. No, we talking about steroid Styles right now. You got steroid Styles out here. That's the best Styles.
Steroid Styles, I like it.
So after the match is over, we're gonna have LA Knight come out, and he's gonna get into AJ's face. We're gonna fade to the end of SmackDown. I don't know. Give me y'all's thoughts about this.
Well, it continued off air where they beat the ever-loving dog trash out of each other.
You wouldn't happen to have that clip, do you? If not, it's fine. You don't have to find it.
Okay. No, I don't have it pulled up. But, yeah. It was one of the dark match type deals they did. Technically, there were three, because there was just those two beating the ever-loving dog crap out of each other. And then the other two dark matches.
Okay. What do you think, G?
I don't know. I'm excited for this one because it's higher stakes. It's the number one contenders match. There's more to it. It elevates the story. Yeah, it elevates the story of what they had, because they were just fighting just because, and then you got fucking LA Knight showing up to AJ's house, which is still wild in my opinion, just to bring the reality in that to wrestling. I like this match now because, again, it adds stakes to it. It's more elevated than just two people that don't like each other. That's two people that don't like each other trying to get gold. So that's my thoughts on it.
Oh yeah,
I agree with that entirely.
It'll be an entirely better match than WrestleMania. I can guarantee that.
I will say out of the 3 people, or out of the 6 people that they had in there, probably the best choices. You know, KO would have been a good choice, I think, but you know, LA Knight and AJ Styles, you know, both have the juice. You know what I mean? Who do you guys think is going to win?
AJ. AJ's going over this round.
See, I think LA Knight can deal with the roid rage. I think it'll be LA. I think it'll be LA Knight.
Only reason I say AJ over LA Knight is because LA Knight already got the victory in WrestleMania. It's time for AJ to actually win this one. Like, for the bigger stakes. I like LA Knight, but I don't know. His hype is still there, but it is... I don't think it's time to pull that trigger this yet.
I'm going to say AJ is going to win just because... I think AJ is going to win just because Cody Rhodes went into so much detail in his promo in the beginning.
Okay.
Also, I will say this is the first time Cody and AJ will be face to face.
That is also true. They never face each other, so that would also be a thing. I say we thought that would be the final nail in the coffin for their feud, but it's just continuing. And Squirrels is right. There could be a chance of a 3-way. To be honest, I don't see that coming. I see it being one or the other, but it could go to some kind of disqualification, and then Cody could be like, you know what, hell, I'm a fighting champion, I'll go against you both. It could be that, but I don't think it's going to happen. So
the Levesque era seems to be big on triple threat matches.
True.
We've had 4 in 2 episodes.
So Squirrels has a question, and I don't even want to speculate just yet on what might happen, but I want to ask if you guys want to speculate. Squirrels is asking what we think is going to happen with the draft. Do you have anybody that you think should go somewhere else, or do you have any big prediction? Do you have any big prediction if someone's going to move? Like I think I have one.
This, in all honesty, is my first full-on draft. I can't really make predictions because I'm not sure how they go. Once they started doing the draft was in my time frame where I wasn't really watching the show anymore. So, like, I've done the draft in the game, but I know that's nowhere near like it is in the actual, in the actual show. So I'm going to abstain from this one just because I'm not sure how it works. So when we get back around to it next year, I'll have a little bit better idea of what I'm walking into.
Sure.
I'm going to base this off who chooses their champion. Because if SmackDown decides they're going to take Damian Priest, I say Jay is going to go to SmackDown. And then they're going to keep Jimmy at SmackDown. And that's how that Bloodline story is going to reunite. Or it's going to be the opposite where Jimmy goes to Raw. And that's how they reunite the Jimmy J tag team. But I don't know.
So
it's up in the air.
So Jay asked to go to Raw. So I think the second way, I think Jimmy going to Raw will probably be what happens. I see Gunther going to SmackDown.
Ugh.
Because that way it takes him out of contendership for the IC belt, and it allows that belt to breathe a little bit. and then that can put Cody and Gunther into a proper match. That can put Gunther in the Bloodline in a proper match. Now, I think that would be a really bad idea to mix Gunther with the Bloodline right now, but I'm just saying they could do it in the future. But yes, Jimmy goes to Raw. Someone from the Judgment Day will go to SmackDown.
JD McDonough.
I actually, yeah, that's one of the things I've got.
JD McDonough leaves the Judgment Day, goes to SmackDown. I hope so.
Maybe Bobby Lashley and the Pride go to Raw. Maybe. Yeah, so maybe we swap some factions. You know what I mean? Like Imperium goes to SmackDown and the Pride goes to Raw, something like that.
I don't know, but it all depends on if each brand is going to choose their champion.
Yeah,
that's the main thing.
It's just that's just the hard thing too. That's why I don't like to do too many predictions on that, because it's like it can go 1,000 different ways. So,
and with this new era, there's no telling what the hell Paul Levesque is going to do.
Right.